Hey guys, this is my first video of my new channel called Carson's Herps. It is weird that my first video isn't even where I live, but rather where he lives. And today we are going to be talking about the poison dart frog. Okay, so now we are here with Graham's lovely vivarium stacked out with magnolia leaf litter, small cork rounds, a substrate mixture of both forest floor and sphagnum moss, dead and wetted, 10-ounce fern, log hide, live tropical moss. On the right side, we got golden pothos. Left side, we got marble pothos. And over here, we got a small bromeliad stacked out with a UVB, I don't know what wattage, but UVB bulb, large, a digital thermometer, and a hydrometer right here. And the last thing, we got a rectifogger, an automatic mister, right here. Alright, clap when you're ready. Okay, guys, the first thing we're going to talk about is substrate. What I got right here by me is the deeper 1-inch layer of forest floor substrate. It's made by Zoomed. It's a multi-fibery substrate, which retains humidity quite well, with a mix of this sphagnum moss right here that we have in a little Tupperware, which is wet at the moment, but is easy to find at pet stores, expos, and you can just order online. You can get it in sheets where they're dry and you wet them, or you can just buy them nice and moist. These retain humidity very well. The Zoomed forest floor is there for consistency, stability, and humidity. We also have a little bit of soil and eco-earth, and it just helps it stay calm and helps the plants grow. Next topic we're going to talk about is feeding your frog. The two main things you can feed are fruit flies and pinhead crickets. I'm going to let Graham talk about that.
So fruit flies are just mini flies. We use flightless since they can't fly out of your cage. And also they're super small. You can use pinhead crickets. It's just we have a baby. So we wanted to use fruit flies since they're much smaller.
Also, when culturing these babies, you need to feed them as well as them feeding your frog. When culturing these, you want to feed stuff that won't rot out quick and that is calcium and vitamin rich. What we got in here right now is an orange slice. You can also feed carrots, potatoes. I like feeding my lizard food like superworms and dubias, potatoes and carrots, mostly because they don't rot out hard, and when they do rot out, they're still edible for them.
And make sure not to do, well, you can use apple, it's just those rot out in less than a day. So
yeah, so you don't want to do that cut. Alright, I think that's all we got to talk about feeding. The next thing we're going to talk about is heating and humidity. First, it's going to be about humidity. As you can see, or as we already told you, is we got this rectifogger, which I'm going to turn off so you can see. This rectifogger, which leads up through here and into here. This will, I don't know how it works, but it vapors this, and then the vapor comes up through here and brings out through here. This is a bunch of water vapor, which will humidify the whole tank and will get everything nice and wet from the drink and just to, get around on. We have a humidity gauge right here, which is just a little portable Velcro sticky, and what you want your humidity to be between is in tropical, number one. If you see this, as long as it's in tropical, that's pretty good conditions. You want it to be between 70% to 100% humidity for your dart frogs. And when you have this humidity, make sure it doesn't get too wet, because some plants can get waterbound and it can clog up the roots, and you don't want that happening to your plants.
So talking about heating, there's 3 types of thermometers. One, infrared thermometer gun. This is from E-Tech City. It's called the Laser Grip 774. And basically, you just look at the light and just stare, put it at one of the spots. But make sure when you're doing that you don't do what I just did. Shine it to the glass, and also, of course, not in your reptile's eyes. So when you do, you just gotta lift it up slightly and then just find the spot. Wherever that laser's pointed is what it is. So that moss is running about 70 degrees right now. Then the second type is called a digital thermometer. This one, it's a Zoomed brand, and it's just a wire coming from here that goes up through here. Since it's so thin, I could just lay this on top. Then there's a suction cup that you just suction it right there. Then whatever that is, that's the heat. Then lastly, the type of thermometer is a gauge. That's not a thermometer gauge, that's a humidity gauge, but that's the same exact thing that it would look like.
Wait, what should your temperature be?
For frogs, it should be around 65 through maybe 87, 88. We are at 67, which is kind of low for us. We're usually at around 69, 70, which is right in the point. It's not too hot, not too cold. So, with lighting about poison dart frogs and any other amphibians, you don't really need it, except you still do want it if you have plants. So I have UVB, which would probably be best to have LED, but this is just what I had, so I just used that. Then also we have an extra large cast, so then we could just put that in, and it wouldn't touch the wire netting. And also make sure not to get a heat lamp, since that would burn the tips of the plants, and it will also probably dry out your frog.
Wait, is that the same for reptiles?
Well, for reptiles, some like skinks, you probably don't want that passing light, but others like bearded dragons, they need that. That's their heat source. So for those, it doesn't count. I'm talking about amphibians.
Right, so for our final topic, we will be talking about our plant life. Of course, you don't need plant life, but it's good with humidity and with, making your tank look good. The frogs, they do a lot of good stuff with that. But especially when you have babies, they're really hard to find. As you can see, we haven't shown any pics of them. We've seen him in the last maybe hour, but he's disappeared somewhere into either the pothos or the hide, and we don't want to go digging him up just for a little video. So, to make your vivarium look stunning, and these are some semi-easy plants to use, we got ferns. Ours, for this 10-gallon tank, is a 10-ounce fern. It's a perfect little size, and I think it looks really good just to bring out the little darker side without the heat, the UVB. Then we got the moss back there, which will spread eventually. We just made this tank, so it's going to work its way around the tank. It's alive, which is why it's green, unlike this moss, which is dead and just keeps humidity. Then we got 2 species of pothos. Both work, both look great, and both are pretty dang cheap. You got your golden pothos, which is probably the most common pothos or houseplant that you will have. Then you got marble pothos, which is almost exactly like golden pothos, just a little bit bigger, and instead of that yellow splotching, it has white splotchings, and it just looks stunning under the light. Then we have, of course, the big trophy plant of your 10-gallon tank is your nice little bromeliad. Depending on what tank you have, it can be big, it can be little, it can be, whatever size you want. This bromeliad has not flowered yet. It's brand new, very small, and we got it from Lowe's. But remember, when you get plants, make sure, this is the best thing you have to do. Wash all that dirt and all that fertilizer stuff off of your roots. That can really hurt your soil for any other plants that you got from an expo, and it could really hurt your frog or burrowing reptile if they burrow, and they can eat it, or they can ingest it, or it can get through their skin. But all in all these plants do great with humidity. And one more tip is that, especially if you're making a bioactive, this leaf litter is great to have because your springtails or isopods can eat them, and it also looks really good and holds water for your amphibian or reptile to drink. Okay guys, so that concludes our very first video on Carson's Herps. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll peace out later.